Hey everyone, I'm your host Grace Ravyn. Today I'm joined by Advocating Wrestling to introduce to you his brand new channel. I hope you can show him the support you have so kindly shown me. Before we begin, we are going to be discussing 6 surprising WWE Hall of Fame inductions. We would like to let you know that although some of these wrestlers competed under WWF, we're going to be referring to them all with WWE to prevent confusion as it's more widely known.
Number 1. Wendy Reptar. Known as 150 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, Wendy Reptar was inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame in 2010 by Roddy Piper. This induction is surprising because even though she was a big part of the first ever WrestleMania on March 31st, 1985, where she defeated Leilani Kai to win her second Women's Championship, she was heavily involved with the WWE's Rock and Wrestling movement, where the WWE cross-promoted with MTV, and the musical act most prominently featured on WWE TV was Cyndi Lauper, who at the time was as popular as Beyonce is today. She accompanied Reptar to ringside during the inaugural WrestleMania. Reptar was as popular at the time as Hulk Hogan. She was known all over America in and out of wrestling. During an event at Madison Square Garden in New York City, Reptar was set to defend her championship against a mysterious opponent known as the Spider. During the bout, the Spider went off script and pinned Reptar. The referee quickly counted free, ignoring Reptar's shoulders being off the mat. This was done at the request of Vince McMahon, the owner of the WWE, who felt Reptar was being too difficult during the contract negotiations. McMahon brought the Spider, who was WWE legend the Fabulous Moolah, who trained Wendy. Wendy had seen Moolah backstage that evening and found it very weird that she was at the building, since she only ever came to shows that she was scheduled to perform at. After the event, Wendy left the arena still in her wrestling attire. She would continue to wrestle in other places but would not appear in the WWE until after her Hall of Fame induction in 2010.
At number 2 we have The Ultimate Warrior. One of the biggest stars of WWE's golden era, making his debut at the end of the 1980s, he was inducted to the Hall of Fame in 2014. He quickly rose to the top rankings of the roster with his unique interviews and quick, high-impact matches. He won the WWE Championship from Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6 and went on to hold the title until January the next year, losing it to Sergeant Slaughter. It was at SummerSlam 1991 when the troubles between Warrior and McMahon began. Before the show began, Warrior demanded more money from McMahon or he would not show up. This being the WWE's second biggest show of the year, and with Warrior teaming up with the biggest star in the WWE at the time, Hulk Hogan, against the Triangle of Terror, McMahon had no choice but to give in to Warrior's demands. After the match, once Warrior returned backstage, McMahon fired him on the spot, and he wouldn't be seen in WWE until the following March, making a surprise return at WrestleMania 8 to help Hogan to end the show. It wouldn't be long until Warrior was gone from the company again due to failed drug tests, as WWE was cracking down on drug use by its wrestlers. He had a brief comeback in 1996, defeating Triple H at WrestleMania 12. There would be many back and forth problems between the Warrior and McMahon over the right to the name The Ultimate Warrior. To ensure he could be the Warrior and McMahon couldn't sue him for copyright infringement, he legally changed his name from Jim Hellwig to Warrior. No first name, no last name, just simply Warrior. There would be many lawsuits between the two, and the hatred would continue for years, with WWE bringing out a self-destruction of The Ultimate Warrior on DVD, which just existed for them to highlight how bad of a person the Warrior was. I doubt you will find the DVD coming to the WWE network anytime, as they are now all friends again. Triple H reached out to the Warrior and they both came to terms with his induction into the Hall of Fame the night before WrestleMania 30. Warrior would die just 3 days later after one last appearance on WWE's flagship show Monday Night Raw. Every year, WWE includes a special induction to the Hall of Fame for a person who has exhibited unwavering strength and perseverance, and who lives life with the courage and compassion that embodies the indomitable spirit of the Ultimate Warrior, named the Warrior Award. The first awardee was Conor the Crusher.
At number 3 we have Bruno Sammartino. Dubbed the living legend, Bruno Sammartino is thought of one of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2008. His first major world championship was won for Vince McMahon Sr.'s then Worldwide Wrestling Federation on May 17, 1963, and lasted until January 18, 1971. lasting 2,803 days, the longest single run without losing the championship in the history of WWE. When he lost the championship, the people of Madison Square Garden, where he had made most of his defences and was hugely popular, went silent in shock. After this, he would win the WWE Championship one more time before moving on to other things in wrestling. During his later run with the WWE, he would grow to resent Vince McMahon Jr. After Vince continued to ask him to perform, Winnie had agreed that he would only be a commentator. During the late 1990s, wrestling took a more adult turn, known as the Attitude Era, where there was a lot more violence, profanity and women in the underwear. This upset Bruno, as it was not the wrestling that he was involved in. He began letting people know during interviews that he hated what McMahon had done to the sport he loved. The two would not speak for many years until the day of his induction. It was Vince McMahon's son-in-law, Triple H, that got Bruno to agree to join in the Hall of Fame. Since then, both have been more friendly and have worked on projects for the WWE Network.
At number 4 we have Alundra Blaze. In 1993, the WWE decided to reinstate the Women's Championship after it was retired in 1991. They decided to bring in a woman known in many other wrestling companies as Medusa and renamed her Alundra Blaze. She won a 6-woman tournament to become the new champion. She would hold the championship 3 times, having rivalries with some of the best women wrestlers at the time. She was let go by WWE in December 1995 due to financial troubles the company was having. Blaze would turn up on WWE's main competitor show, WCW Monday Nitro, that aired at the same time as Monday Night Raw. During her first appearance, she appeared from behind the commentators and held up the WWE's Women's Championship before throwing it in the bin that was laying beside the table. She reverted back to her Medusa name and went on to win the WCW Women's Championship. Because of this, she was banned from the WWE for 20 years, not being welcomed back until her Hall of Fame induction in 2015. Since returning to WWE, there has been a special documentary about her career produced for the WWE Network, and she appears during pay-per-view pre-shows. She also continues to drive monster trucks where she is a world champion.
Number 5. Bret Hart. Bret Hart was the reason I started watching wrestling again in 1997, during his time with the Hart family. It was during this time that Bret had renegotiated his contract with Vince McMahon to stay in the WWE for the next 20 years, instead of going to WWE's biggest competition, World Championship Wrestling. At the 1997 SummerSlam event, Bret would defeat The Undertaker to win his 5th and final WWE Championship. It wasn't long after this, Vince decided he couldn't honour their 20-year contract and suggested that Bret go back and see if he could get his original contract offer from WCW again. At the beginning of November, Bret sent his 30-day notice to WWE. Bret had reasonable creative control for the end of his contract. He was scheduled to defend the WWE Championship against Shawn Michaels, who Bret had a real-life hatred of, and refused to lose the WWE Championship to him. It was agreed the match would end in a double disqualification, with both men's team interfering during the match. At the end of the match, Shawn put Bret in his finishing hold, and Vince McMahon, who was sat at ringside, ordered the referee to ring the bell when Hart had not quit. This became known as the Montreal Screwjob, which is documented in the excellent documentary Wrestling with Shadows. After these events, Bret left for WCW, which we'll have more on this subject on my channel in the near future. The events of Survivor Series led to a lot of hatred between Bret and the WWE. In late 2005, rumours started of Bret Hart might be returning to WWE, but no one would believe it until they seen it. Then during an episode of Monday Night Raw, it was announced that Bret Hart would be inducted to the Hall of Fame class of 2006. Although he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, Bret did not return to the WWE as a performer until January 2010 as a general manager for the night. The two sides would work together on DVD projects about Bret and his family.
At number 6 we have Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett will be inducted into this year's Hall of Fame. He started wrestling in 1986 for his father's company, where he would spend most of his time until October 1993. This is when he would debut as a country western singer character who wanted to use the WWE to get exposure for his music. Jarrett would go on to win the WWE Intercontinental Championship 3 times before leaving for WCW in 1996. Jeff would return to the WWE in 1997 as part of the NWA Invasion, where they wanted to bring wrestling back to the traditional way instead of the way it had become in late 97. It wouldn't be long until he returned to his country music singing character in 1998. At the August pay-per-view SummerSlam, Jeff lost a hair versus hair match to X-Pac, which meant he would have to lose his long blonde locks. The next night on Raw, Jeff would take on a more serious persona. Over the next year, he would be involved in a tag team with Owen Hart winning the WWE Tag Team Championships once. 8 days after his tag team partner Owen Hart died, Jeff won the Intercontinental Championship for the 4th time. He would lose the title to Edge but regain it the next night. During his last run with the championship, he began a rivalry with Chyna, WWE's most popular female performer at the time, who would wrestle men more than women. The two were scheduled to wrestle in a Good Housekeeping match on October's No Mercy, but Jeff's contract with WWE had run out a week before the event. Jeff told McMahon the only way he would come to the show and lose the championship to Chyna was if McMahon paid him $300,000. McMahon agreed so that there could be a finish to one of the biggest rivalries WWE had seen. Jarrett left for WCW again the next day and would remain with the company until it was bought by WWE. Jeff would go on to start his own promotion, TNA Total Non-Stop Action Wrestling, which became WWE's main competitor, but not to the level of WCW. Jeff helped create some of the stars you see today, such as AJ Styles, Bobby Roode and Samoa Joe, among others. TNA would go through financial trouble and Jeff would sell the company to Dixie Carter and go on to other projects. So there you have our top 6 surprise inductions into the WWE Hall of Fame. Has anyone been inducted that surprised you? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channels. Thank you.